And welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Peter Winick. I'm the founder and CEO of Thought Leadership Leverage, and you're joining us on the podcast today, which is Leveraging Thought Leadership. Today, my guest is David Komlos. David is the CEO and co-founder of Syntegrity. He's an entrepreneur. He's an early stage investor. He is an author with a book that's coming out. Focuses his time on working with Fortune 100 organizations on transformation, large-scale problem solving, and issues related to complexity. David lives in Toronto with his family. So welcome aboard, David.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for a great introduction.
Oh, here we go. It's all true. So, so your story is an interesting one because you and your partner, David, started a business together that's grown into a really nice size, mid-size consultancy up in Toronto. And you work with amazing clients for, world-renowned names that we all know. And you're sort of the complexity organization. And now, sort of at this stage of the career, good-sized company, lots of great clients, doing this for 12, 14 years based on an algorithm, there's science underneath it. Now you're sort of diving into, more broadly speaking, the world of content and thought leadership. You've got the book coming out, you're speaking more. So let me just sort of get under that a little bit. What's the why underneath that first?
Yeah, the last 15 years or so have been an incredible journey, starting with highly inaccessible approaches to complexity that we've honed over time. We've had incredible customers, CEOs of major corporations, leaders in government, non-governmental organizations around the world. Broad application, and we've learned a ton. We've honed it into what really is a formula for powering up in the face of complexity. And we felt a responsibility, we feel a profound responsibility to share it with leaders around the world. We've put it into a book. It's easily accessible, and it should have a very big impact on the way people think about their biggest challenges, their biggest priorities, their biggest threats, how they go about seizing them with speed and just much greater effectiveness. While we didn't invent many of the things that are encapsulated in the formula, we did create that formula and really what we refer to as pull it over the finish line, and it's available.
So your current model is very high touch in terms of the way that the formula, if you will, is deployed. It requires getting a lot of people in a room and solving the problems over time, et cetera. But what you said, is interesting to me in terms of the reason to deploy thought leadership now. It sounds somewhere between sort of democratizing the content, getting it out to all, and evangelizing it. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, let's spend time on democratizing it. You very rightly point out that we work at the highest levels of organizations. Most organizations with the CEOs, the CFOs, the COOs, and so forth, strategy leaders. We do go deeper into the organizations at a business unit level and a product level. But generally speaking, it's an important investment in top priorities. Now, there's so much more that folks at the manager level, the director level, the vice president level can leverage in the formula. And what we're doing now is everything to do with fully digitizing aspects of what we do and really helping other people who don't have quarter million dollar budgets make use of what is very, very powerful.
So it's obviously based on the same IP and the same formula, but able to be served to different segments of the corporate market at different price points with different expectations, right? So you can't sell a product for $10,000 that has the same outcome as one that has a million, but it's same heart and soul though.
Yeah, as you said earlier, we're bringing large groups of people together to tackle issues like how do we grow faster? How do we merge? How do we take cost out? What should the customer experience be? And we'll bring 40, 50 people together several times around the world to tackle one of those challenges for a multinational. But there's lots of smaller, complex challenges that can be tackled much faster with smaller groups, smaller ambitions, different kinds of timelines, different kinds of priority, and that's what we're trying to make available to everyone.
Right, and I would imagine the quantity or frequency of the occurrence of smaller than the biggest problem the company has out there is pretty large, right?
That's right. That's
Everybody
right.
good. Okay, so at some point, you and your partner, David Benjamin, decide, hey, we're busy, we're running this great business, we're serving our clients. Let's take on another full-time job and be authors and thought leaders and speakers, right? How did that come to be? Like, what was the spark that ignited that?
It was this deep sense of responsibility and opportunity to capture, document, make accessible what we feel is the single most important competitive advantage a leader can have, whether you're a manager or whether you're the CEO, whether you're working for a commercial organization or a government. It really is the ability to power up in the face of complexity, right? And so it was this deep sense of responsibility, having cracked the nut formulaically. What are the 10 steps? What are the mindsets? What are the actual how to's? We said we got to document this, and of course, it's been having a very profound impact on the growth of the organization. We've been growing very nicely, but now we're sort of at an inflection point, and that's through thought leadership and content marketing.
Got it. And given the fact that your methodology is process based and replicatable and not dependent on, your or your partner's personal insight, intuition, experience, it enables you to scale that beyond the two of you in a big way. You've already done that, prior to this.
Yeah, we've already done that. And now we can really, instead of doing it for organizations at scale, when we can equip organizations to do it at scale for themselves.
Got it. So just so folks understand sort of where you are in the journey, the book is done and it's going to be out shortly, very shortly. So I'd like if we could spend a little bit of time on the last, I don't know, year or so, the journey that you went into this world of publishing and PR and social media and thought leadership, because you and your partner are thoughtful guys, and I imagine that you've learned a lot along the way and you've made some decisions along the way. So, speak as if you were talking to you and David 2 years ago, what you would have liked to have known or learned or understood earlier as you sort of went down this path.
Hmm. There's it's been a fairly enjoyable yet arduous process, this journey since determining that we're going to write this book and then understanding the lay of the land and what does get published and what doesn't get published and how to go about getting published. We've had incredible partners. Our agent Esmond Harmsworth.
Yep.
We've had really good publicity with Cave Henricks and other firms that have helped us really bring it all together. But next time we do this, we'll understand that we have to bring on these partners sooner. That the challenge of expressing something that's clear in one's mind is not necessarily as straightforward as one might think just by writing it down. You know, we hear the music. The folks on the receiving end of what we're saying don't necessarily hear the same music, and so there really is an art and a science to getting that right in a way that's understandable, that goes beyond just writing a book but really communicating effectively, and then knowing how to distribute, how to get this to market, how to tap into social, which is not something that we are masters of in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Because you can write the best thing is what we're learning, and if you don't have the distribution and the savvy around how to reach the folks who are going to really really be able to benefit from this, then you're going to miss the mark. We've been very fortunate to have brought on the right partners who are top notch and are making that happen in real time. That's what we're living through right now.
Right. So I want to talk a little bit about the picking those partners, the decision making, right? Because neither you nor your partner come from a world of publishing or any of this. It's a foreign world, right? To say, okay, what are the three things I need to do to get a book out? It's a little bit more complex than that. So given that you're like most of our audience and folks that listen, smart, how did you make those decisions? Who did you listen to? How did you do the research? How did you decide that sounds like a better partner for me than that one? And we don't need this, but we do need that.
We're good at differentiating between complex challenges and complicated challenges, and this is what's in our book. Partly, complicated challenges are very difficult for the person who's experiencing them for the first time, like if your car breaks down or if you're putting in a new accounting system. But the right approach to take is take an expert centric approach. Go find the experts. We recognize that writing a book and bringing it to market effectively has been done many times before. We don't know what we're doing, but there are many, many experts out there who do know what they're doing, and we sought to find the best ones. And so we found a really incredible agent. We found through research and interviewing and referrals a really good editor. We found an amazing PR publicist who works with authors like us and authors who are way more well renowned,
Yep.
who took interest in us, and we were able to narrow down which ones to work with based on the kind of niche that we're in. So we took an expert centric approach and found the best experts and let them tell us what we need to do as opposed to us trying to figure it out on our own behalf.
So I want to just pause there for a minute because finding the right experts, number one, takes a sense of humility, a beginner's mind, right? Just because you're top of your game in your business doesn't mean you know anything about others. And I think oftentimes experts move into foreign domain and say, "Well, I'm really smart at X. I'm a smart guy or gal. I'll figure this out," right? But I love that you sort of went to the experts, and I also know that when you're working with some of your partners, you're not leading them, you're allowing them to lead you. You're leading them directionally. This is what I want to achieve. But you're also communicating to them, listen, this is your domain. You tell me what to do. I haven't, you mentioned Barbara from Cave Hendrick, great firm. You're telling her, you tell me what to do because you've done this. I want to be a good student. I want to be a good client. So tell me, because that's from my perspective, doesn't happen often enough. You let people hire the right people and stymie them and stifle them. So
Yeah. Well, the mindset comes from the law of requisite variety, which really informs the thinking we have around complexity and how we help our customers power up in the face of complexity. The law of requisite variety says only variety can destroy variety. So you're dealing with a high variety challenge like getting a book to market properly, or how to double the growth of your business, or any of those other complex challenges that I mentioned. You have to bring together an equal amount of variety to bear on the challenge. And the way you do that is by tapping into the right diversity of talent, knowledge, experience, expertise. So that's just our mindset. We have
but
to.
I think I read that in the advanced copy of your book. So are you applying your own methodology to your own work? Could that be?
We apply our own methodology all the time to our company with really good
Right.
results. We have, the right mindset in terms of applying the right mindset around. You have to bring the right talent around you. You do not necessarily have all the right talent in your organization. Outsourcing the thinking and doing, etc., in certain situations to external parties is also not the right approach. But the hybrid, which is where you bring people from, experts from outside your organization to inform your thinking, in certain cases do the doing. Like I said, if you're
Yep.
implementing a new accounting system, you shouldn't try and figure it out yourself, just bring in the experts. In this case, getting a book to market, writing the book, I mean, we put pen to paper, so to speak,
Sure.
but we needed external parties, the experts, to tell us exactly what will work, what won't work, how to distribute, and so forth. And we did not have that knowledge internally, and we approach the world with that kind of mindset.
Got it.
Where is the knowledge? Where's the talent? Go get that. It's all around you in abundance, but it's latent. Just go tap into it.
So can you think of an example or two of something you totally would have done differently if you didn't have this requisite variety of deep experts around you as it relates to the book?
I think in general we would have failed. I don't know what we would have done differently. We may have had to self-publish, which we weren't really that keen on doing. We didn't really have strong belief in the reach, and in our ability to do that. I think this would have been a whole other decision and potentially a different outcome of whether to write a book or not had we not gone down the route of tapping into the right agent, the right publishing partner, the right thought leadership vendor, etc. It just may not have come to fruition.
Interesting. And what you didn't say, which I find really fascinating, is the content would have been the same, right? You would have told the story the way you told it because it's told well, it's written well, etc. But you're talking about sort of that next concentric circle around distribution, PR, positioning, social, like all the other stuff that is beyond your core, beyond your expertise organizationally.
That's correct. I would even say that, we applied our IP, our methodology, to an early version of the book. We brought together 24 people, I believe, including people from customer organizations, people who work in our organization. They read the manuscript ahead of time, and we did a 2-day session using our methodology to figure out how do we take this from really a good product to a great product. And it really did improve the final outcome a lot.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
That's an interesting process. So you sort of did a sneak preview and then went back to the drawing board. How much change was made to the book based on that process? 20%, 40? Like what?
I'd say at least 40% in
It's
terms of,
significant.
yeah,
Yeah.
significant change. And yes, significant change around how to best convey what we're trying to convey through stories, through archetypes, just the whole approach to the book. People recognize that the raw material and a lot of the good work had been done, and that the raw material was in the book. But in terms of really landing it, I would say that we changed about 40% of our work at that point, and we did it in 2 weeks, which was really, really powerful for us because
Sure.
it wasn't like we got these notes back from individual reviewers that we had to then consolidate. We were able to like bring 20, 24 people together, connect the dots together, and really hit the ground running on revising the manuscript.
So the book's really a product of your methodology at some level, which is fantastic.
Yeah, at some level it is for sure.
Great. So what else might you share with someone, or even if it was yourself going back in time a year or two, that's about to go down this path, right? So either they've already got a viable entity and they want to sort of integrate a stream of thought leadership to increase awareness and democratize it and all that. What are the things that you would tell them to be thinking about?
Well, I would say to them, be aggressive about going down that path. That's my general learning from this.
So what does that mean? What does that mean?
What that means is go for it. I don't know if I can get granular enough for you, but in terms of my big takeaway is, if you're an organization like ours and you've got some really interesting and compelling intellectual property and just wisdom and lessons learned over years that can be brought to bear for individuals, thought leadership content marketing is a great indispensable way to amplify the impact you're having and really scale.
I love it.
And I don't see any close second strategy. It's not like do thought leadership marketing, content marketing, write a book, and if that doesn't work, then take out a billboard, right?
Yeah.
Like I just don't see a
Yeah.
close second to that.
Right. Well, and I would say the other side of that is, given you're a good sized firm, you're still not competing with the Accentures and the McKinseys at a size level. There are occasions where you might compete with them on an engagement level. You don't have a $200 million marketing budget, so even if you wanted to experiment and buy billboards at every airport or the top 10 airports in a market, that would be a bet the house risk, right?
Yep.
It could really have bad outcomes.
Yeah, and I think what I've learned is there's a ton of content out there, but content still is king. And the general public and people who are interested can differentiate between good, compelling, strong content and same old, same old. And so if you do have the raw material for great content, I would aggressively go after content marketing. That's what I'm seeing bear fruit for us right now for the company and as us as authors. It's extremely exciting.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And how would you describe the process and the journey for you? Is it a root canal? Do you love it? Is it somewhere in the middle?
It's um it's hard to describe. I mean, as CEO of Integrity, I've got a ton of things going on.
Sure.
I've got family life, lots of friends, and so this has been one additional element to life over the last 18 months. And I'd say that it's been, generally speaking, exhilarating. It's been very rewarding to put down in a concise way what it is that we've learned, what it is that we know, what other people need. And yeah, it's been hard, but what isn't hard? What isn't difficult? So it's been
Well, if it's
extremely
easy,
rewarding.
everybody can do
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Got it. Awesome. Well, this has been great. I thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And I don't recall if we named the book. So let's give a shout out for the book. Give us the title.
Cracking Complexity, the breakthrough formula for solving just about anything fast.
And we're going to put that in the show notes as well. So I thank you for sharing your journey. I think there's a lot that folks that are considering diving in or are already in the midst of that could learn from your experience and where you've been. And I want to have you back on a couple months after the book is out to talk about, okay, so now what? What's happened as a result? Because this is all sort of the getting ready for the big release, which is pretty exciting. So thank you so much, David. Thanks for joining us today.
Peter, thank you for having me on. I've enjoyed this a lot.
My pleasure. To learn more about Thought Leadership Leverage, please visit our website at thoughtleadershipleverage.com. To reach me directly, feel free to email me at peter@thoughtleadershipleverage.com. And please subscribe to Leveraging Thought Leadership on iTunes or your favorite podcast app to get your weekly episode automatically.